Got anything on you?
Stay with him. I'm at my house.
Okay, I don't know. I'm asking you. What's your name?
Gervonta.
Javon. What?
Gervonta.
Devonta is your first name?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your last name, please?
They're saying he can get anywhere up to 7 years if convicted of all charges, right? When you break down the situation, when you're a celebrity or an athlete and you have money.
What began as a low-key federal sweep has now escalated into a serious investigation that could damage Tank's legacy. Authorities reportedly found large amounts of unregistered cash inside his Florida mansion after claims surfaced that he was buying expensive jewelry with money that may not be linked to any declared or traceable income. These discoveries have raised concerns about possible money laundering and pushed federal agents to take a deeper look at Davis's long history of legal issues and questionable financial activity.
Gervonta Davis, world champion, man. Oh, man, not again, dog. You the big dog, man. Hey, you Baltimore's finest, man. Yeah, across the Delaware Bridge, right? Yeah, that's him. That's you. Yeah, man.
But this time, the focus isn't only on Tank. The presence of Floyd Mayweather Jr., his former mentor, promoter, and longtime influence, is still closely tied to the situation and reaching even deeper into it. These developments come right after Mayweather was linked to a major real estate scam involving a fake company accused of cheating investors. Because of the timing, fans and analysts are now questioning whether Davis may have been influenced or even guided into similar behavior during his time under Mayweather's leadership.
What about the charges against you?
Gervonta, you was charged.
You got nothing to say. Guys, come with me. I'm your body.
Did you punch that woman in the face?
You got nothing to say.
Right now, 4:30, a boxing star bonding out of jail in Broward County and refusing.
For years, Tank Davis has followed Floyd Mayweather's path both in the ring and in his personal life. The flashy lifestyle, the wealth, the cars, and the constant controversies. But now, as federal agents dig deeper into Tank's finances, many believe the similarities go beyond appearance and point to something more serious. Like Floyd, Tank's record has been marked by domestic violence issues, public incidents, and now possible financial wrongdoing.
Tank Davis had a history of assault charges and more. On September 19, 2017, an arrest warrant was issued for Davis, who was being accused of first-degree aggravated assault. The charge was later changed to a misdemeanor second-degree assault, which carries a maximum potential sentence of 10 years or a fine of $2,500 or both. At the court, Anthony Wheeler, a childhood friend, complained that Davis punched him on the side of the head with a gloved fist. He then stated that he was diagnosed with a concussion at the hospital. The incident took place at Upton.
The discovery of the undeclared cash reportedly happened during follow-up investigations after the burglary at Davis's Parkland mansion. That break-in took place while he was serving jail time for a hit-and-run case, and millions of dollars worth of luxury items were stolen, including high-end cars like a Lamborghini Urus and a Ferrari SF. At the time, the massive amount of wealth already raised eyebrows, but now federal investigators are looking at it from a different angle and asking a serious question: was all that money actually legitimate?
In March 2021, he was indicted on 14 counts for allegedly causing a serious car crash after running a red light after a November 2020 birthday party in downtown Baltimore. His Lamborghini struck another car and left it smoking, sending the occupants to the hospital, including a pregnant woman. He allegedly left the scene in a Camaro that pulled up minutes later. On February 16th, Davis accepted a plea deal that saw him plead guilty to leaving the scene of an accident involving bodily injury, failing to notify an owner of property damage, driving on a suspended.
The cash now being investigated was reportedly never listed in Davis's tax records or bank statements, and sources say it wasn't kept in any official financial institution, but instead stored inside his home. Keeping large amounts of money off the books like this is a major warning sign in financial crime cases, and the fact that several federal agencies are involved shows how seriously the situation is being treated. This issue has also brought attention back to Davis's messy split from Mayweather Promotions, as he had previously hinted at tensions with Floyd and openly shared frustration about how his career was managed. Recently, YouTuber Showbiz the Adult added to the discussion, suggesting that Davis's frustration isn't really about money, but about not building the legacy he wants.
Now, beyond that case, he also still had a hit-and-run accident case that was still hanging over his head from a couple of years ago. And so he finally went before the judge for sentencing, and he ended up getting 90 days of home detention along with 3 years of probation. So as of right now, it's reported that he's spending those 90 days with his trainer, Calvin Ford, and looking forward to moving past this 90-day home detention.
Even though Davis has often been promoted as the face of boxing, he still hasn't faced a truly defining group of top-level opponents, a situation many believe was shaped by Floyd Mayweather's influence. In a recent video, Showbiz the Adult said that Davis didn't realize you can't truly be the face of boxing without building a strong legacy, adding that despite his success, he still feels hungry for something more. That desire for respect, purpose, and recognition beyond just pay-per-view numbers may be driving his recent unpredictable actions. Not long ago, the WBA lightweight champion even announced his retirement, saying he wanted to focus on making money and staying out of trouble.
That's why I don't want to box no more. I want to do therapy, right? But I feel as though if I do therapy, it will lose the fire that I have inside me. I want everything out of me where so I don't never think about fighting again. I don't think about even getting angry, you know what I mean? Because I have 2 girls, 2 daughters. I'm wanting to be much softer, you know what I mean?
In his own words, he said he wants to live without being seen, which some people took as a sign of peace, while others now see it as him stepping back before more details come to light. Interestingly, Davis is still set for a rematch against Lamont Roach in August in Brooklyn, a fight he's calling one of his final appearances. However, whether that bout actually happens may depend on how this investigation develops, because if charges are filed or his assets are frozen, his boxing career could be put on hold much sooner than expected, while at the same time, Floyd's own legal troubles continue to build.
Incarcerated, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be in it.
Hey, take that shit fly right here.
I ain't gonna lie, your beard is finally doing something.
It was a learning experience. You know what I mean? It showed me that that's not where I want to be. And I got kids, you know what I mean? I got kids I gotta take care of. Got family, friends, and everything I gotta take care of.
And he was recently named in a lawsuit claiming his name and brand were used to mislead investors in a major real estate scam, where properties were promoted as his even though they were not actually in his name. Floyd has denied any involvement and says he wasn't part of how the scheme operated, but the accusations have still damaged his public image. Now fans are starting to connect the dots, pointing out that Davis looked up to Floyd, copied his lifestyle, and built his career around Mayweather's influence, but may have also picked up the darker side of that example. From domestic violence, allegations to keeping large amounts of cash hidden away, the similarities are becoming harder for people to ignore. At the center of it all, Davis is still in his physical prime, but mentally and emotionally he appears worn out. He seems frustrated with the sport, unhappy with his legacy, and possibly caught up in financial issues that go beyond boxing. Federal agents are paying close attention, and so is the entire boxing world. If this investigation results in charges, it could lead to a dramatic scoot for someone once seen as the next in line after Mayweather, while also serving as a warning of what can happen when fame and money are put ahead of discipline and personal growth. As Showbiz pointed out, money alone doesn't guarantee happiness, and now with Davis's future uncertain, one big question remains. Is this the end of his boxing career, or the start of the toughest fight of his life?
A lot of you guys are talking about what Gervonta Tank Davis said, talking about him pricing himself out, saying that he won 150 M's for his rematch with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, y'all want to know what I think about that whole video? It looks like Gervonta is on the outskirts. Listen, man, where everything is happening, dude, all these fights are being made over there. It just looks like Gervonta is on the outskirts looking for the perfect op. But at the same time, talking about how big of a brand he is.
The conversation around Tank Davis is starting to sound more like warning signals. While fans focused on his surprising draw against Lamont Roach, a fight many thought he'd win easily, a much more complicated situation was unfolding behind the scenes. At the center of it all is money, not just the cash earned in the ring, but the kind that rarely sees the light of day, the kind that keeps lawyers ready and federal agents watching closely. Now, the story has taken a darker turn, suggesting that Davis's pursuit of high-profile fights like Jake Paul may not have been just about building his brand, but possibly a frantic attempt to turn questionable cash into legitimate money before the consequences catch up with him.
For me, go get the money. It's right there. The bag is right there. Go get it. I would go get the money because these fights are going to always be there. These boxers are always going to be there to fight because none of them are making the type of money that you're making. Not saying they're not making the money, but they aren't making Canelo.
Sources close to the boxing world say Davis has been quietly under federal investigation for months. While no charges have been filed yet, authorities are reportedly looking into money laundering, undeclared income, and possible ties to criminal activity. Rumors like this aren't unusual in boxing, where the sport often intersects with street networks and underground economies, especially for fighters who rose quickly from tough backgrounds. But with Davis, insiders say it's more serious. His team has been warned that a freeze on his assets, including bank accounts, properties, and business ventures, could be coming depending on the results of the ongoing investigation.
You saying he fighting for the money. You ain't saying Mayweather the promotion trying to make the most money off of Tank possible. You saying he fighting for the money.
If he said he went in there 0 times and requested the big fights, obviously he don't really care about the big fights. He just want to get the money, in which he's doing a good job at.
I mean, maybe he just let his team, come up with who they think should be next for him. And maybe that's why he hasn't gone in there, because anytime we see him, hear him after a fight, well, gotta sit down with
This isn't just speculation. Observers have noticed a shift in the Baltimore fighter's behavior in recent months. A rush to schedule fights outside his weight class, prioritizing spectacle matchups over meaningful title bouts, and showing up in settings far from top-tier boxing circles. That's where Jake Paul comes in. On paper, a fight between a proven lightweight powerhouse and a YouTube-turned-cruiserweight boxer doesn't add up. Tank has built his career dominating at 135 lbs, while Jake Paul competes much heavier. The weight gap alone should have ended any serious consideration of the matchup.
We know that Gervonta's going to fight Jake Paul in November, and then we'll see what happens if there's an AJ fight. Be interested to go from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think the Chavez fight is terrible. I think it's a smart.
But it didn't stop. In fact, Davis's team was reportedly eager to make it happen. Why? Because this fight wasn't about titles or building a legacy. It was about cash flow. A Jake Paul matchup guarantees millions in fast, largely unregulated pay-per-view revenue, offering far more flexibility than standard boxing promotions. For Davis, it wasn't just a fight, it was a way out, facing the reality that traditional fight purses could be monitored or frozen due to ongoing legal concerns. He could use Paul's platform and the exhibition format to move money more freely behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. I'd be super, super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
These kinds of fights often use shell companies, cryptocurrency, and international wire transfers, tools Davis's team could rely on to keep money moving even if domestic accounts were frozen, but the fight never happened. The timing was off, and the draw against Lamont Roach threw a wrench in the plan. Davis needed a clean win to boost his value before cashing in with Paul, but the controversial draw disrupted everything. Many believe Roach should have won, and some say Davis only avoided defeat thanks to friendly judging and a disputed 9th round knockdown. The controversy hurt his image, making it harder to position himself as a top-tier attraction for the Paul payday.
One of the biggest names, obviously, Gervonta Tank Davis. 13 sellouts in a row, 3 division champion. You and him were very close to fighting. Will we see that in November?
Yeah, no, we're working on it behind the scenes to make that happen, and obviously that's a fight where the fans are going to win, and it's going to be the biggest event of the year.
What weight would you fight him at?
We're working on it, but it'd be an exhibition most likely.
Go ahead.
If people want to know, can you bring Glory back to Cleveland? After that embarrassment.
Behind the scenes, things reportedly started to unravel. Negotiators on Jake Paul's side grew concerned about Davis's unpredictability in and out of the ring. Paul, both a sharp marketer and a serious competitor, didn't want to get caught up in legal trouble or a situation where Davis couldn't even access his own fight purse because of federal scrutiny. That's when the deal fell apart. What was described as being on the 1-yard line quietly died, with only vague statements from both camps. The real reason: too much scrutiny, too many eyes on the money, and not enough time to move it safely.
Me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real, or what was to it with you and Tank actually being a thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
There's also chatter about Davis rushing into promotions, launching side businesses, and investing heavily in real estate. All moves that, according to forensic accountants, suggest someone trying to move money quickly.
We're in discussions with a lot of names: Gervonta Davis, Anthony Joshua, Badu Jack, Ryan Garcia, KSI, Tommy Fury. So there's a lot of people on the hit list, but Badu Jack excites me a lot, and I definitely want to become world champion. So going after Zerto or Badu sounds like a good game plan to me.
If you had your pick of the litter, in scale of 1, 2, and 3.
First is Gervonta. Second is Anthony Joshua.
Even those who have supported him professionally are starting to pull back, waiting to see if charges will be filed or if Davis can navigate his way out of trouble. His desperation is also showing in public. Lately, he's appeared erratic in media appearances, swinging between bold confidence and awkward pauses when money comes up. In a now deleted Instagram live, he hinted at people trying to take everything I built, which many see as a nod to potential government. Seizures. His cryptic posts, sharp digs at critics, and flashy displays of luxury all suggest a man trying to enjoy his wealth while he still can.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down.
Gervonta,
I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Jake Paul has moved on, setting his sights on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a fight with both legacy significance and commercial appeal. Still, Paul can't fully leave the Tank story behind. In interviews, he calls out Davis's weaknesses, saying he never thought Tank was that talented and that Roach finally exposed him. Beneath his words, though, there's an unspoken acknowledgement. By walking away from the fight, Paul avoided a potential legal and reputational disaster.
Man, he got lucky as a draw. He did a good fight, though. I thought he won it, but man, he gotta just create more action. That's a sparring session as far as I'm concerned. Oh my God. But, God damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
People in the boxing world are starting to connect the dots, with promoters and managers quietly suggesting that Davis's time as a top-earning star could be limited. If even part of the rumored investigations leads to charges, he could be sidelined or worse, and if his assets are frozen, he won't just be fighting in the ring, but also struggling to protect his financial future.
You got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if he won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
The most tragic part of this story is the lost potential. Despite his problems, Davis is one of the most naturally gifted fighters of his generation, with real power and explosive skill. But instead of raising the sport, he now risks being remembered as a cautionary tale, a great fighter undone not by opponents, but by the chaos surrounding him outside the ring. In that light, the planned fight with Jake Paul takes on new meaning, a last-ditch effort to cash out quickly before everything collapsed. It wasn't about proving himself or building a legacy, it was about survival. Davis wasn't trying to grow his brand, he was trying to clean it up, to make his finances appear legitimate, and Paul, intentionally or not, became part of that plan.
You compare those fights to Gervonta Tank Davis, and this leads me to believe that, Tank is still the cash cow. Tank is still Tank, because Tank and Lamont Roach, that fight was very, very entertaining, in my opinion. Either it ended in a draw, you can say, people say Tank lost, say Tank won, but ultimately, in my opinion, even though Tank didn't stop Lamont, that fight was very, very entertaining.
With the rematch against Roach looming and time running out, all eyes are on Davis. Not just fans, but investigators, accountants, and rivals sensing opportunity. A win could buy him some breathing room, but a loss or another draw would strip him of leverage entirely. Then headlines won't focus on exhibitions or pay-per-view numbers. They'll be about indictments, court dates, and the collapse of a once promising career. For now, Tank keeps moving forward, driven by bravado and desperation, but it's clear this isn't just about boxing anymore. It's about a man trying to outrun a past that has finally caught up with him.